Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Long-time Nextflow user, first-time attendee of the summit. So I'm very happy to be here and hear some of the awesome things people are working on, as well as help me kind of get ideas on strategy for how I kind of want to move Champions Oncology's infrastructure and data management forward. I'm fairly new to the position. I've been with the company for about 4 months, and much of that has been putting out immediate fires and then understanding some of the issues that we have and then creating a strategy around that. So a lot of that overall strategy is still kind of up in the air and in flight and in my head. I don't have a beautiful diagram, as some of my earlier speakers show up, where everything fits together. I don't have that yet because it's in my head and kind of in flight. However, what I do have is I was pretty sure early on what I needed that Seqera platform kind of gives to us, and this will be a little piece of what that is today. So first off, I want to just talk a little bit about Champions Oncology and what the company does and what we have that kind of informs on some of the issues that I'm trying to solve. So Champions Oncology has a large bank of PDX models, which are patient-derived xenografts. So you take I'm sure a lot of you know what that is, but if you don't, you take a piece of a human tumor and then you start growing and propagating that human tumor in mice. And in many ways, it's more robust than, say, cell line work, because it keeps a lot of the same features as the original patient's tumor. It's not perfect, but it definitely has its uses. So most of the company is surrounding doing experiments for our customers. And throughout the years, we've done a whole bunch of characterization experiments on these PDX models in order to inform our customers on which models to select for their experiment. And it became clear after a while that that data all on its own has utility and function and is worth a lot of money to a lot of people for other things other than just selecting these models. But I'll get more into that in a second. So this is kind of the structure of that data that we have. We have over 50 different indications, and we have a whole bunch of clinical statistics. And one nice thing about our model bank is that it's primarily highly pretreated patients. So it reflects the patient community out there for selecting experiments. What we have is we have the PDXs, as I mentioned. We're also developing a robust organoid, mostly based on those PDXs, though we have some directly from the patients. That's a growing bank of organoids for more high throughput type screens. We also have a bank of primary heme models, as well as we are doing some humanized mouse work as well. All the big people use us, really, in conjunction, and there are a lot of studies where they publish data using us. The model data that we have, which again was primarily just characterization data, is whole exome sequencing, RNA sequencing. We have proteomics data, both whole cell and phosphoproteomics. And by the end of the year, we'll have most of the bank cell surface proteomics as well to add to this. And then what we deliver is, what's available is all that clinical data, all that analyzed data, as well as the raw data for our customers to be able to do whatever they want with it. And then that's where my boss is responsible for the strategy for trying to sell it. My role, while I report to him and I kind of lean in that direction to support him there, all the data infrastructure and bioinformatics on that is kind of my responsibility. So some of the issues that we had was based on we had things like the sequencer data goes to base space, but the only thing base space is used for is for QC for the sequencing lab, and then they do demultiplexing in it, and that's about it. The fast queues, once that demultiplexing is done, were manually moved over to an S3 bucket for our Nextflow pipelines to run on it. I am a longtime Nextflow user, but they actually were early adopters. They had old DSL1 pipelines that they migrated a couple years ago. So that wasn't something that I had to try and implement. They were already there. So some of the problems with that is over the years, the pipelines were modified and updated in a very ad hoc manner, and the data provenance was never well tracked, and data with new versions of pipelines sat right alongside data from old versions without any idea of what might be different in that analysis. Also, our S3 buckets were a complete mess with duplications everywhere, no real set archiving strategy or anything like that. So we were highly overpaying in our cloud storage costs. And to fix some of these problems, I knew that I was going to be doing a whole bunch more compute cost. I was going to be blowing up our compute costs going forward. So I need to save money wherever I can to try and offset some of that. So let me skip forward. Some of the things that I plan on doing is the sequencer is going to stream directly to S3. I have a cataloging system that's going to auto-trigger demultiplexing pipelines, including the QCs that the sequencing lab needs, so I can cut base space costs now and put that into my new compute need. And then I want to also minimize the cost per run, and I'm doing that through Fusion using the platform, as well as the fast storage to enable the Fusion. And then something that I haven't started working on yet, but we just got access to the Fusion snapshots, which hopefully should help us with the spot callbacks as well and the cost associated with that. So jumping right to the end, using these optimizations that we've seen, I do want to point out this is not all based on Fusion. This also includes optimizations that just Seqera folks were nice enough to say, oh, I would do this to your runtime environment to help yourself out. I would do this in your retry strategies to optimize that. So there is some pipeline optimization in here a little bit, some environment optimization outside of Fusion. But within that in total, we've seen a small speed up in our turnaround time per sample. Turnaround time isn't a big deal for me, so the big one is the cost. And so for our RNA-seq pipeline, we got an 83% reduction in compute cost per sample using Fusion and all of those other optimizations that were guided by Seqera. And then with our West pipeline, that was a more modest but still impressive 55% decrease in costs. So that's fantastic. I can now use that to schedule bank-wide reruns once per year, once per quarter, whatever that cadence looks like. I've now gotten several cost efficiencies along the way from this and from other things. My base space license I get to drop, and now so hopefully that will improve our efficiencies and allow me to spend more on reanalyzing and running more data. I think that's all I have for now, and happy to open it up to questions.
Okay, we don't have any questions in the chat, but maybe I'll fire a couple off. The data management aspect, how do you plan on solving that? Presumably you've got a lot of data. Is it distributed right now? Do you need to unify that in some shape or form to then go and analyze your data and then possibly have some provenance in between to track your samples and your PDX models to that core data.
Sure.
How are you handling all of that?
So we have 3 internal LIMS systems. One of them is homegrown, and they're hoping to continue that development to take over the little pieces that are used for the others. So we have that, and then, which I don't have very much to do with yet, and I'm kind of avoiding looking into while I fix the problems that I'm better at. But we did recently buy a cataloging system to help with that, and actually that's going to interact very closely with Seqera platform because it has a small job scheduling system that I'm going to use that cataloging system to detect new data and trigger Nextflow runs on platform using its crawlers for S3. How much that's going to integrate back into the LIMS systems to pull metadata out is yet to be seen. I don't think my use case needs very much of that because everything is kind of de-identified and mapped with just one unique identifier for everything. The bigger problem is going to be the provenance and multiple analyses of the same data set and which one is the one of record and things like that. That's going to be harder, but the logging in the platform is going to help with that. I haven't quite figured out how the interaction is going to be with versioning. We also have a platform that's going to sit on the front for our customers, and we're planning a data set versioning system through them that might handle large changes in the data and versioning that way.
Okay. And no one's talking about it nowadays, but do you have any plans for integrating AI into your workflows and that
responsibly?
Sort of thing
Not directly. So our customers are the ones that we're trying to sell the data to. Most of them are interested in building AI models using our data. We are interested in terms of when we show that data, many times there's a little bit of a lack of imagination initially. So we like to show use cases saying, here is a study, here is an analysis, here's something that was done in the data. So we're starting to look at AI. We don't have a lot of internal knowledge and background there. So we're kind of looking for partners to help us kind of do some POC use case design with that. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.